So I'm gonna make this video. I'm gonna try to make it short and sweet. It's something that I was just kind of hesitating. I've been putting off all week making this video, but I promised a follow-up video after I announced my pregnancy, then miscarriage. I kind of wanted to tell you guys exactly what happened, how I found out, just kind of the circumstances surrounding the pregnancy and the miscarriage. I honestly did not think that in July we had a chance of getting pregnant because I was out of town when ovulation hit. I didn't think that when we had been together it was within that window. I was taking LH strips. They showed positive about 2 days into my trip. I didn't think there was a single chance that I could get pregnant. I was charting like temperatures and all that stuff, but that was because I had an initial appointment with an obstetrician / gynecologist. It was a first appointment and I just wanted to have as much information as possible in case he asked me any questions. I wanted to be able to answer them. I was not having a ton of symptoms. Like I was noticing some smells, a little thing here and there, really nothing earth-shattering. Nothing that would have been unusual for getting a period, except my chest was tender. And that was a little bit odd. My biggest symptom, I think, was just that I was tired and dizzy and I would like get out of breath, and then I just felt fluffy. Like I felt like no matter how much I worked out, I didn't feel lean and cut. I felt thick and I felt like I was holding on to extra water and like body fat and things like that, and that was unusual for me. And that was actually something that I complained to Sam about, and he was like, well, are you sure you're not pregnant? And I was like, it's impossible. So a couple of people along the way were like, you could be pregnant, and I was like, no. I was really quick to shut down the whole idea that I was, because I didn't want to hope. And I had an appointment coming up and I'm like, yeah, that would be great. Like, oh, you're keeping track of all this. Did you know you're pregnant? I finally did take a test at 13 days past ovulation. I randomly, in the middle of the morning, it wasn't first morning pee or anything like that. I just randomly decided to take a test. I took it and it took a little bit, but the test did come up positive, like you guys saw in the video. And it was not really a faint positive. It was very obvious. So I was freaking out. Obviously I told Sam, and but over the next few days as I continued to test, like I do because I'm, you know, a little bit neurotic about it, I noticed that the test lines weren't getting darker, and that stood out to me, and I was like, I don't think I'm going to be keeping this baby. And I've never been through a miscarriage before, so I don't know what to expect. Called my OB, and I was like, look, I got positive pregnancy tests, and I just wondered if this affects my patient establishment appointment. And they said, yes, you need to go over to the OB side now. And so I scheduled kind of same time, same day, with just a different clinic. And I planned on going to that appointment, but I kind of warned them ahead of time, and I said, look, I think I'm miscarrying. And they're like, okay, well, you know, we'll just see if you make it to that day. And Tuesday night I started spotting. I think Wednesday morning it had turned into a light flow, and I was cramping. Thought I could handle it. So I stayed home, just took the morning slow. I hadn't had the chance to eat anything yet or anything like that when the cramps really started hitting, and I started to get really nauseous. I tried to eat something so I could take ibuprofen real fast. I tried to eat a muffin, it tasted like sawdust. Couldn't keep it down. Could not eat it. I spat it right back out. And I knew that if I took ibuprofen, I'd just throw that up. So I was sitting on my bed, really nauseous, not feeling good. I tried to call Sam, tried to text him, ask him to come home, couldn't get a hold of him. Called my mom. By now I was getting really, really nauseous, and my hand, like my arm, had started to tingle and lose some feeling, and I thought that was weird. And then it just intensified from there. I had a headache. I was cramping a lot. My arm was going numb. I noticed like I was barely able to move my fingers by this point. Like there's something wrong. My mom told me, go fill up the bath, because I've been sitting here on my bed with a heating pad and it wasn't working anymore, and I felt like I was in labor by this point. So I went into the bathroom. I tried to start the tub. The numbness and tingling just started spreading to all my extremities. I could not move my hands. They were very stiff. I realized that I was on the verge of passing out, so I turned off the tub and I said, Mom, I need to call 911. I don't know anybody. There's nobody near me who can come. And if I black out, I don't know. Basically, I didn't know when I was going to wake up. Abby was still asleep. That was really scary. So I hung up on my mom, and it took me like 3 tries to dial 911 because my hands by this point were just like paralyzed and I did not know what was wrong. I was really scared I might be hemorrhaging for some reason because I noticed that the bleeding, I could feel the bleeding picking up. So I called 911 for the first time in my life for myself. And that was terrifying. And they sent an ambulance. There were 5 paramedics in my living room within about 4 minutes. And I don't even remember how I managed to unlock the door for them. But somehow I got there. I was really just fighting to stay awake this whole time. I did not know what was wrong. Again, like my arms and my hands were just going numb. My fingers were rigid like this. Like someone with really bad arthritis. They just would not move. They were completely like stiff. And so they had me try calling Sam again. He didn't pick up, of course. They asked which hospital I wanted to go to. I said Valley, and I said, but none if possible. Like I'm sitting here like dying on my chair going, I don't want to go to the hospital if I can help it, because I didn't have insurance. Just calling them alone I knew was going to cost us so much money, but I didn't have anyone else I could call. So I was fighting to stay awake. Abby's freaking out a little bit. She's wet her bed. I didn't have time or any wherewithal to take care of it. So the paramedics got her dressed. They kept trying to get, you can see there's bruises. I have about 4 or 5 bruises on me where they tried to start IVs. They couldn't, because normally I have very vascular arms, and they said you have really good veins. I don't know why I can't get, I don't know why I can't get an IV in here. And they were just brittle. My blood pressure apparently had dropped dangerously low. My veins were brittle, and they just would not pop no matter like how tight they made the little band on my arm. Nothing was happening. So they couldn't get me Zofran for the nausea. They couldn't get me Toradol for the pain. They couldn't get me anything. So they dressed Abby. They got her car seat out of the garage. They put us in the ambulance. We went to the Valley Hospital. Sam showed up about 20 minutes later. I was continuing this whole time to labor, and I was on the verge of throwing up the entire time. There's a couple of times when I honestly thought I was just going to be sick all over the place. All male paramedics, of course, not a single female. So they couldn't really understand my situation. One of them was like, oh, so you're having a miscarriage. How far along with you? I'm like, well, like 4.5, 5 weeks. And they're like, oh, so it's early. Sorry for your loss, I guess. And I'm just like bawling and in so much pain. And I'm like, just don't say anything if you're going to say something insensitive. Went to the hospital. Sam got there about 20 minutes later. He was freaking out. I was freaking out. Abby was fine. She had a bunny. She loved the paramedic guys, and she was just hanging out watching Bubble Guppies in the emergency room. And we got things figured out. We actually got me set up on insurance because of this incident. I was able to get state insurance, and so we were really lucky. We were covered by the state for the whole ambulance issue and everything. And I got 2 ultrasounds. I got blood work done. They took so much blood. But I got 2 ultrasounds. They confirmed a miscarriage. They got my blood counts. My HCG levels were dropping appropriately. Basically, they said, we're really not happy with your blood pressure, but it's high enough now. Like, this was after probably 4 or 5 hours in the emergency room. They finally were able to send me home. They made me eat something. They were like, get her a big meal, get that blood pressure back up. So yeah, that was a crazy experience. And no matter how many times people reassured me that I made the right decision calling an ambulance, I still feel like such a wimp, because I delivered a child without an epidural. Why couldn't I handle a early miscarriage? I don't know. I think part of it was I was surprised by the pain. Part of it was I hadn't eaten. I hadn't had enough to drink that morning, so I was dehydrated and undernourished. And when it all hit at once, it just made for a medical, kind of a miniature catastrophe. So technically I did make the right call, because otherwise I would have been passed out on my bathroom floor, completely helpless without anybody to call, and a 2-year-old in the apartment who could wander out the door, anything like that. So I made the right call. It was just extremely difficult. I've been home for a couple of days, kind of recovering. I'm very tired, very drained. It's been hard to eat. I've been trying to make sure I get out every day. I cry randomly, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not right now, but I know it'll hit me in an hour. It's not something I would wish on my worst enemy, to be honest, because everybody can call it, oh, it's just a heavy period, it's such an early loss, it was barely there, it was just tissue. It was a loss to me. I lost my baby. I knew about this baby for about a week, and I loved it. That was devastating to me, and it continues to be devastating to me. As far as trying, I don't know. I have been putting off a few health-related things that I really want to catch up on these next few months while I have medical coverage. And so I don't know whether I want to keep track of cycles, whether I want to try. I'm just kind of taking each day as it comes, getting through the miscarriage process, which has only gotten easier as far as physically from here. I'm still, like I said, pretty exhausted. I think that's, I don't know if that's physical or emotional, but I feel like my body kind of went through a bit of a trauma, so I'm giving it a little bit of time to recover. Sam really wants to try again. I'm still figuring it out. Like, in all honesty, it has to be up to God, because I don't know if I could handle another loss in this short amount of time. I understand that that's rare, but it could still happen, especially if maybe it was some health issues of mine that were related to the pregnancy loss. I don't know. So I am making it my mission to get healthy, to get well, to be living as fully and healthfully as possible to properly prepare for the next baby. So that is my mission right now, is to just get healthy. And so maybe this won't happen again, but yeah, like I said, there's moments where it hits me really hard, and then there's moments that I'm fine and I can just turn my attention to other things, family, my house, behind on housework, of course, and you know, so I'm catching up on that. It's keeping me busy. I'm getting out every day, but it's really one of those things that you do just have to take one day at a time. I can't do anything about that. So anyway, thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you want to keep up with my ongoing story, and I will talk to you in my next video.